And gentlemen, this Super Bowl was played a couple of years ago. Controversial call to end the game, but a good game nonetheless. 38-35 was your final. And what you had was interesting box scores with some star players. So we're going to look at those box scores and we're going to see if maybe they can be replicated. Let's start with Travis Kelce. Mike McClure, Kansas City's your team. In Super Bowl 57 2 years ago, Travis Kelce had 81 yards. He had 6 catches. The 81 plus receiving yards is plus 185. Over or under?
I'll go over at plus 185 here, Sia. 81 is still a number that is well within the range of outcomes for Travis Kelce that would be considered a reasonable game, not any sort of, superstar performance that's, worthy of winning an MVP award of any kind. And I actually think there's a chance that Kansas City is trailing in this game. I think the Eagles are an extremely talented team. And if we get this situation where the Chiefs are trailing at all in this game, that is where Travis Kelce is going to be peppered with targets. So you should see a normal line on him around 60 yards. You're asking for essentially 21 additional yards here at plus 185. I'm interested in that. I'd go over here.
Larry, I agree with that argument. And you're getting plus 185 for a player that is going against a defense where if there's a weakness, it's the middle of the field, right?
Yeah, and I hate to bring up your Commanders again, but Zach Ertz got 16 targets. And I believe Travis Kelce, even at his advanced age, is still a more explosive tight end who can do more with the ball after the catch. And you don't want to attack those Eagles corners. They allow such little separation, talking about Quinyon Mitchell and Darius Slay and, of course, Cooper DeJean. So I think it is another big game for Travis Kelce.
Yeah, let's move to another high flyer. Let's go to the Eagles side. A.J. Brown in the last Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs, 96 yards, and he also had 6 receptions for whatever that's worth. But let's talk about 96-plus yards at plus 200. Larry, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, he finally looked right in the championship game against that unsaid team that we're not going to mention. He did look totally healthy. And with the way that the Chiefs blitz at the 5th highest rate, and they do trust their corners out there on man-to-man, Jalen Hurts will trust A.J. Brown, no matter if it's Trent McDuffie or whichever corner is on him. He is going to throw it up to A.J. Brown. So, yeah, I think there's a good chance that he has another big game in the Super Bowl.
Larry, thank you for sparing me. You won't have to do that again. You did it once, so I feel like you're considering my feelings now. So go ahead. You can say Washington Commanders rest of the way. Mike, I tend to agree with Larry here. What's interesting is as much as I think Saquon's going to rush the ball, I mean, his rushing attempt props like 22, they will have to pass the ball. I agree with the sentiment that Kansas City's going to do everything they can to stymie the run. So I don't hate this play because I think A.J. Brown could catch a long bomb here. 96 plus is plus 200. Where do you lean?
I lean over at plus 200. Again, it's not asking for a number like 125, which is typically like 125 on these alts at plus 200. That's what you'd see offered on like a regular season game. So I think this game has the potential for shootout. And I also think, like Larry said, I think it matches up well considering the style of defense we know Kansas City likes to play, and the fact that they're very likely to stack the box to try and stop Saquon Barkley in general. So I would be interested in this at plus 200, and I would actually take it a step further with a negative correlation same game parlay over 96.5 yards or over at 100 yards while under the 5.5 receptions. Parlay those together, you're probably going to get closer to 10-1 on that. I think it's an interesting look here on A.J. Brown.
Side note, I don't hate those reverse correlations. Played the same way for Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown. I just want to throw that out there as well. Okay, let's go to Dallas Goedert. Larry, you mentioned his props. They've gone up from 46 to 52.5 in a lot of spots. Now 60 plus is plus 120. What do you think of that, Larry?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a huge game for Dallas Goedert. The Chiefs give up the highest yards per target to the tight end position, and Dallas Goedert has looked amazing since coming back from injury. I mean, the stiff arm touchdowns, the athleticism. So, yes, to me, this is a big game for Dallas Goedert, especially if the Chiefs continue to blitz a lot. He is going to be your read over the middle.
Yeah, Mike, I don't have a really strong conviction on this one. I guess I would lean over, but can't forget about Devontae Smith, who probably has a better matchup than both of these guys. Maybe not Dallas Goedert, but either way, Mike, over or under on the plus 120 on 60 plus?
Just a slight under lean here at plus 120. If you offer me plus 135, plus 140, I would be leaning to the overside pretty significantly there. But at 60 plus, it is still a meaningful gap from where his original prop opened in the 40s. So for me, I would stay off of it here with a slight underlean when you're going north of 60.
All right, I think we got one more to go here. And this one might be my favorite because of the price. Again, we promised you before the break a lot of plus money rematch specials. Here we go with Patrick Mahomes. 3+ touchdowns, Mike McClure, is plus 250. Now, it looks like to me, if you think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to score 3 touchdowns, there's at least a decent probability that they all come through the air, considering the manner in which Kansas City has been scoring these days. What do you think about the plus 250 on 3+ for Patrick Mahomes?
I lean over at plus 250. Now, do I think Kansas City is going to score 4+ touchdowns? I do not. I think that they probably get the 3 with a couple of field goals here. But I do like it just the way this offense runs. I know Kareem Hunt has been used in that red zone. I still think in the Super Bowl, Mahomes does care about the legacy a little bit. I think that we could see little shovel passes, things that essentially count as passing touchdowns. So I'll lean over at plus 250.
Yeah, we know we see that type of thing toward the goal line. Larry Hartstein, what do you think about the plus 250?
I think they're going to have to get very creative facing the #1 pass defense in the NFL. And I'm not high on the Chiefs having a big point total here. I'm definitely on under 24.5 total points. So with only 3 touchdowns to go around, I'm not going to say that all 3 are coming via the pass.
All right, fair enough. I think I'm going to sprinkle a little bit. I mean, there's a lot to sprinkle on this Super Bowl. I do like the plus 250 number on 3+ touchdowns, but I fully understand that it's plus 250 for a reason.